But seven of these 9 holes are on the head. The 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, the 2 ears, and the mouth. You see, only 2 are in the other gigantic body, the genital and the anus, lower gates for that matter. So the head is the leader of the whole body. So the Brahmanas, if you act according to the principles of your ashram and varna, then you will be gradually elevated. Though acting, your actions, since they are regulated by scriptural injunctions, you'll be gradually purified and gradually elevated. But at that point, you maybe give maybe 5%. And when you become a little bit more advanced, you give 10%. And when you become more advanced, you give 20%. Then, when you are acting according to your prescribed duties, with detachment and with knowledge that you are not this body but a spirit soul, then your purification becomes faster until at a point your Kama Yoga becomes Niskama Kama. At the lower level, it is Sakama Kama Yoga. On the higher level, it becomes Niskama Kama Yoga. And when Niskama Kama Yoga is done with knowledge, that means detachment plus knowledge is Niskama Kama Yoga. Okay? Detachment plus knowledge is Niskama Kama Yoga. And Niskama Kama Yoga intensifies into Jnana Yoga. Okay? It intensifies into Jnana Yoga. Then Jnana Yoga, as in knowledge is added, it becomes Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Niskama Kama Yoga, mixed with Jnana. Then when that intensifies, it graduates into Astanga Yoga. That means at a point it becomes mixed with meditation. Constant meditation on the Lord and activities of the Lord, it becomes situated. Then that is Astanga Yoga. But from the Jnana Yoga level, knowledge is churned out. Realized knowledge is revealed from the heart. It cleanses the heart a little bit more. Then Bhakti is there. So Buddhi Yoga is stretchable. Right from purified Kama Yoga, that means Kama Yoga, it stretches into Jnana Mishra Bhakti. It stretches into Astanga Mishra or Yoga Mishra Bhakti. And finally, at the end, Bhakti or devotion is also added. So on that platform, it becomes devotee. One becomes a bhakta. On the platform of actions mixed with detachment, mixed with knowledge and meditation and devotion, then Bhakti takes birth. So Bhakti is the highest ladder of the yoga. So different aspects of Bhakti, one who is on that platform of Jnana Mishra Bhakti and Yoga Mishra Bhakti and Pure Bhakti, how they act, what are their characteristics. This constitutes the next section of the Bhagavad Gita from 54 up to 72. So we are in 49 now. We are coming to the end. We are coming to the end of Kama Yoga. And Kama Yoga, can mix it with Jnana Yoga. So we are coming to the doorstep of Buddhi Yoga now. And the rest is Buddhi Yoga, which is explained from the verses 53 down up to 72. Different components, the characteristics of Buddhi Yoga. And the first characteristic of Buddhi Yoga that it was explained was in verse 40, where they explained in Neha Bikramana Susti, Pratya Vayona Vichate, Swapam Api Asya Dharmasya, Trayate Mahatru Vayat. That when you start doing devotional service, even if you do 5%, that 5% is preserved for you beyond birth and death. In your next life, you continue from 6%. That means any endeavor on this path, there is no loss or diminution. And that endeavor, transcendental endeavor, will protect you from all types of fear. And the most dangerous type of fear is the fear of losing a human form of life. So as long as you are a Ghana, you are a Bhakta, even if you drop in 5% or 10%, you will still get a human body. You'll be born into a family of devotees or very rich, brahmanas. Then from there, you continue your devotional service. So once you arrive at the president of devotional service, there is no loss or diminution. Then the next verse, which is the most important verse, was explained in verse 41, that Vyavasaya Mika Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana. That there on that platform, the devotee is resolute. One becomes resolute in his determination to carry out the instructions of the Guru. And such resolute determination, we say translated into present existence, is the determination to implement the instructions of our spiritual master or your spiritual master. And it is this particular verse, the Vishwanatha Chakrabarti Thakur's translation or purport of this particular verse, was what inspired Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to go to the West. So the International Society for Krishna Consciousness that you are part of is born out of the Vishwanatha Chakrabarti, the inspiration gotten from Vishwanatha Chakrabarti's purport of this particular verse. It is this verse that motivated Srila Prabhupada to go over to the West. His guru gave instructions in 1922, but he implemented it. He realized this instruction in 1966, an interval of 44 good years. So if Guru gives instruction and if external circumstances are not favorable for one to implement it, provided you are meditating on how to implement it, you are still connected. So let us take this principle very, very seriously. We should be determined to implement the instruction of our spiritual master. So from there, more and more was explained how this kind of work in devotion can burn down all the sinful reactions and can take one beyond the platform of reward and punishment and situate one transcendental. So, as I said, the light is off, so I'm using some torch to phone light to look to see whether I can see properly. So there, in verse 48, we said that perform your duty equipos, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. That if you are acting on that platform, Krishna takes the karma and gives you the yoga. That when one works and is unattached to the fruit of such work, is performing karma yoga. And that detachment is then perfected when he offers the fruit of his work to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna not to renounce work, but to renounce the fruit of works. Then the next verse, should be noted because it is connected to the question Arjuna will ask Krishna at the opening of chapter 3. We mentioned that yesterday also. So remember this verse when we are starting chapter 3, because there's a connection between verse 29 here and the first text of chapter 3. So there, O Janandana, 49, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are called their misers. So what fruit is attained by one who tries to enjoy the result of his work? Only birth and death. If one wants to enjoy the fruits of his work, the result is that he will attain repeated birth and death. That is the result. And Krishna criticizes fruitive desire and he glorifies Buddhi Yoga. We see that Prabhupada here in the next 2 verses translates as devotional service. So the living entity should not work, it should work hard to escape suffering and not to work hard to implicate himself into more suffering. in the realm of birth and death. And it should not become further entangled in it. Therefore, Buddhi yoga is what is needed. Yoga actions with intelligence, and devotion. And Buddhi yoga liberates one, and the effect of his practice are described as follows. Now, verse 50, the effects of Buddhi yoga have been described. That a man engages in devotional service, he reads himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. So the art of work is described here. And that means wants to work as a matter of offering to God. Wants to do his duty as an offering to God. And then that makes it yoga. Otherwise, it's ordinary fruitive activity. When the nectar, when the flavor of offering your work, as oblation into the fire of transcendence begin, then you are doing yoga. So the art of work is to act in such a way that we become free from both good and bad reactions. Okay? Because good reactions are also binding. They can only take you to heaven. And after enjoying the result of the work, you come down again. But once you act to acquire transcendental results, not good and bad results. So Arjuna fears the sinful reactions from killing his kinsmen, but dutiful detached work in knowledge, according to Krishna, will protect him from the fruits stemming from such activities. Therefore, we must work, but we should be detached from the results of our work. The light has come back, but before we can get back to our computer, let us see. It will take a little time, but the light is back, and we are hoping that it will not go back again because everything was disconnected. Okay, so that is it, that Jnani desires to become free from reactions by renouncing all activities. The same effect can be more easily achieved by acting with detachment. For example, this example is given, the example of Mercury. The example of Mercury is given that my computer, don't fight with me like that. That mercury is poisonous, but in the hands of an Ayurvedic dutiful work performed in knowledge and aimed at pleasing the Supreme Lord leads one to liberation. That means ordinary activities will bind one, but when one acts with detachment embellished with knowledge plus meditation and yoga, such work can liberate one entirely. That means you'll be working, but you will not be entangled by the result of your work. So this is transcendental work. This is where Krishna wants Arjuna to arrive at. So he's explaining all this, and he's going to convince Arjuna. Arjuna is almost convinced that he should work in this way. So in 51, he said, by those engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the result of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back home back to God. He's telling Arjuna that this thing I'm telling you to do, you are not the first person. All great sages have acted in this way. It is a proven system. Great sages, all the great souls you have heard of in history, they have acted with this understanding, and they have attained, the stage beyond repeated better. They have gone beyond heaven. If you want to go beyond heaven and enter into the spiritual world, you should act with detachment plus knowledge plus meditation plus devotion. If you do this, you are gone. When you leave this body, you will enter into the realm that is beyond better, that you will not take birth again in this material world. So it's inducing him to act. So Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur explained that detached work leads to realized knowledge of the soul. Yes, when you are working with detachments, there is a flavor, there is the result that is churned out from the friction, the interaction between detached work in knowledge of your real identity plus meditation and devotion. It will ignite the fire of realized knowledge from within the heart. And when that happens, you become a devotee. You want to just act as an instrument in the hand of God. You will act, but without any attachment to the fruit. You see, when one does becomes realized, he can gradually become blessed with knowledge of the Lord and can surrender to him. Such surrender frees one from the material world, and after liberation, he becomes eligible to attain Vaikuntha. This progression is known as the yoga ladder. The yoga ladder is detailed in the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. The whole first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are first. My computer, please, so don't fight with me, otherwise I will break you to pieces here. Don't just try me. So anyway, this is it. The yoga ladder begins here, but it is spread throughout the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so this is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more in the details, the interactions of activities that constitute proper yoga, acting with devotion. That when your intelligence has passed through out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So how we attain fruitful benefit is described in the Kamakanda section of the Vedas. Krishna is saying, rise above this Kamakanda section of the Vedas. Just like yesterday wrote glorifying all these rituals, but he remained despondent. He was not satisfied until he exclusively glorified Srimad Bhagavatam and glorified the Lord in Srimad Bhagavatam as instructed by Narada Muni. Then he became happy. So Krishna here compares it to a dense forest of material illusion. Fruitive activities, Kamakanda, you do this, you get this result, you do this, you get this result, if you do like this, you get this result. And this is just religiosity for economic development for sense gratification. Liberation is not included. Liberation is not included. Religiosity for economic development for what? Sense gratification. Maximize sense gratification. This is what the Kamakanda session is teaching. So Krishna is trying to take Arjuna beyond this level. So otherwise, one continue to wallow in the realm of happiness and distress, or honor and dishonor, fame and infamy. So he said, please try to become indifferent. Don't be attracted by this flowery language of the Vedas. Don't be attracted. And luckily, devotees, all those who have started sincerely doing devotional service, whether they are new devotees or not, you see that they are losing interest in the flowery language of the Vedas. They have lost interest individually in the flowery language of the Vedas, ritualistic ceremony. You do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. And yesterday we were explaining that, yes, demigod worship and ritualistic ceremonies, they are good for those who have not come to the platform of devotional service yet. Why? Because it grants them a sense of subordination to authority. Understand? It might not be the supreme authority, but they know that there is authority, and if you surrender to higher authority, your problems can be solved. So that's if you intensify that, it will culminate in understanding who God is that God is the supreme controller. So once they have developed that tendency to submit to higher authority, their spiritual journey has begun. So these Kamakanda things in the Vedas, they are not all that bad. But we say for one who has already become a devotee, when he goes back down to taking those things so seriously, then it's considered retrogressive. You see, his intelligence is considered bewildered. But if you are a Vikami and you take to demigod worship and you take to Kamakanda rituals, you will be gradually elevated. Because ultimately, and we gave the example of the prodigal son, that therefore demigod worship is God's, Krishna's Sankirtan arrangement to trap the conditioned souls who are madly after sense gratification. By giving them the sense gratification they want, purifying them, and letting them see beyond, with their intelligence to see that something is higher. The person giving me this is also worshiping somebody. Who is he worshiping? Then gradually you come to realize that it's that same God that you took your share from and you left long ago is the one that this person is worshiping, and you are worshiping this person. You are working in a factory that is being owned by the son and servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of your father. So if you go back to your father and directly work with him, it is a superior position. So this is what this arrangement does. From demigod worship, they gradually evolve. And we give another analogy of, like, if you are looking for a specific star, like the Arundhati star, most auspicious star in the universe, and you can't see it clearly, but you see some very shiny star, very powerful star that is glowing more than ever. Say, do you see that star that is glowing there seriously? He said, yes, you can easily see it. I've seen it. I said, look at the left. The next, like 2 meters to it, you see another star there. That is the actual star, Arundhati star. Then this way they're able to see it by taking the road map. By seeing the shining star, now they can now point you to the next star. They use that one as a direction. So this is the Sankirtan arrangement. So flowery language of the Vedas, or the Veda Vadaratas who have become lost in promoting the flowery language of the Vedas, who are completely lost in the ocean of Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. They are doing some work also, and there is gradual elevation too there. So let's not condemn it completely, but we only condemn it for devotees who have come in contact with devotional service, yet go back to that. Okay? So bear with me, oh. That is the explanation we gave. And now we have come very far, and Krishna is explaining. Krishna is explaining more. Okay, so that is it. So let us read from verse 50. Or which was the last verse we read? But let us start from verse 53. Verse 53. Madam Ji, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So
My
start from
network
verse
end is a little
53.
bit shaky, but let me try.
Okay. Say
Srote
again.
Vipra. I said network here is a little bit shaking, but I will try. Let's see how much I can go.
Okay.
Bhakti Panate Yada
Me, I'm not even hearing you. Or is it my own phone? I'm not even hearing you. Is it my own phone?
No, I was not the one talking.
Are others hearing, Madam G?
No, I'm not the one talking. Someone else was reading earlier.
Okay, let somebody else read and let's see whether we can hear. Oh, is it my phone?
Shruti Pratipanate Yadastasya Niskala Samadav Akala Buddhis Tada Yogam Avapsyasi.
Read the translation.
Okay. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
Purport.
Purport: to say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one in full samadhi has realized Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. The highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna, and that one's only business is to discharge one's duty in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into the communication with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in the transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master.
I'm sorry that the volume of my phone is very low. It is my own volume that is very. So can you hear me clearly? Huh?
Oh, please, it seems like your volume is down.
What is the cause? What do I do now?
Prabhuji, we can hear you.
I cannot shout more than this.
I can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Huh?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
But me, I'm hearing you move very faintly. Okay, anyway, that is it. That Arjuna must transcend fruitive desires and become fixed in Buddha yoga to achieve success. This is what Krishna is saying. That desires to perform these prescribed Vedic duties, this sacrifice, that ritual, this other ritual must no longer disturb the candidates attempting to attain samadhi. Samadhi is a consciousness that is fixed on the Supreme. So Krishna is instructing Arjuna to fix his consciousness on the Supreme and act for the pleasure of the Supreme. So for one who is aiming at that, he should not be disturbed by the ritualistic allurements. He should see all those fruitive sacrifices and their procedures as allurements, just allurement, just distractors. But will a devotee who neglects Vedic verses be lacking instruction? No. Srila Prabhupada's purpose described the instructing that occurs on different levels of Buddha yoga. And in Krishna consciousness, one comes directly in communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood, in that transcendental state. That one is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. That one has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, spiritual master. Yes. And when one is acting on the platform of the Krishna service, automatically is watering the root. So for him, all that can be achieved will be achieved. All that is possible for any other system to achieve will be automatically achieved. It is compared to be like somebody who has $1,000. If you have $1,000, automatically you have $800, you have $500, you have $300, you have $200, you have $100, you have $50, you have $20, you have $10, you have $1. You see? So if one is in Krishna consciousness, every other thing is a subset. Every other yoga system is just leading you gradually to the topmost yoga, which is Bhakti. And you as a Vaishnava, you are already situated in Bhakti yoga. You are already watering the root that all the other yoga systems are still looking for. You are already situated in watering the root by the costless mercy or the spiritual master, the representative of Krishna. That Krishna has, for the time being, finished describing Buddha yoga. Arjuna now asks 4 questions in text 54 about the divine consciousness that Krishna has just mentioned. This consciousness of serving Krishna, watering the root. So Arjuna is going to ask 4 questions. And Krishna answered those questions one by one. Beginning with the next verse. Arjuna will ask the questions in the verse we are about to read now. And Krishna will start asking and answering the questions from the next verse. Okay? So this type of yoga Krishna has described to Arjuna. It looks very attractive. And Arjuna has accepted that, okay, if that is the case, I will do it. Now you are my guru. You have instructed me to do this. I will do it. Then Arjuna will ask questions about this type of yoga for clarification. What are the symptoms of somebody who is situated in this yoga? If you say you are a Vaishnava, what are the symptoms of one who is situated in this yoga that you are telling me to do? Is there any example of somebody who has done this yoga? Then what is his life? How does he walk? How does he speak? How does he eat? How does he sit? So those kind of questions Arjuna is going to ask Krishna, so that Krishna can talk more about the characteristics and the benefits of such yoga that he's telling him to do, Bhakti yoga. So, verse 54. G. Madhav, you can read now. The problem is from my side. I don't know what has gone on with my speaker. Are you there? I'm not hearing anything. No. Madam G, read now. I'm not hearing. Read. Okay, any other person in a better network position can read, please.
It's a report that can read Hare Krishna.
Just go ahead to read. Oh. Read the Sanskrit first.
The Sanskrit, you know, they switch from my mouth.
Huh?
The Sanskrit, I'm yet to master the Sanskrit, oh, the sloka.
Raghupati Prabhu, read the Sanskrit. My network is fighting with me, and you people are also not being spontaneous also. So you are giving me anxiety. If I tell you to read, you should read. Huh? Why should it take you 1 hour to respond to my call for you to read?
Sthita prajnasya vasa samadhi stasya keshava sthita dikyumya bhashita.
Okay, now carry on. My voice is better now. My computer is back. Read the translation and purpose on gas.
Okay. Arjuna said, "O Krishna," text 54. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of man whose consciousness is just cities? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?" Purport. As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a deceased man has his symptoms by which he is known as deceased, or as a learned man has his symptoms, so a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man is Krishna conscious and Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Arjuna has agreed, but he wants to know the symptoms of those who have arrived there. So the first question is, Arjuna wants to know how to recognize a Sthita Pragya, one in divine consciousness. He therefore asks, what are the symptoms? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? Then, if you look at it literally, it's not how does he speak? Does he speak Chui or he speak Yoruba or he speaks Ijo? No, this is not the question is asking. There is an inner meaning to that. When you say, how does he sit? It's not just this sitting down you are thinking of. Or how does he walk? Or whether he walk like a European or he walk like an American, he walk like a Nigerian. No, that is not what he's asking. So Srila Vishwananda Chakravarti Thakur explained that Arjun's first question, how is one who is transcendentally situated, is Tita Pragyan described? What are his characteristics? This is what it means. What are his characteristics? Then Krishna answered this first question in the next verse. See, although these questions seem to deal only with such a person's external behavior, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur reveals each question's internal meaning. There is internal meaning to each and every question. And this internal meaning should be revealed by the acharyas. And the next one now is going to answer the first question, very first question. Okay, the very first question. What are his characteristics? What are the characteristics of one in divine consciousness? So read 55. Text 55.
Text 55, I read the translation and purport. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is said,
Don't be lazy. Try to read the Sanskrit. Try to read the Sanskrit. No, read the Sanskrit. Read it. You yourself read the Sanskrit.
Let me learn it.
Just try. Just try. Look at it and read.
Prajahati Yada Kama.
It didn't begin with that. It begins with Sri Bhagavan
Vacha.
Sri Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Savam Patamanu Gatem Atmani Evatmana Tosta Stita Prajnas Tadokiate.
Tadoshiate. You are trying. If you continue to read, before long, you will begin to read properly. So you are trying. Now read the translation and purport.
The Supreme Personality of God has said, O Pata, when a man gives us all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concussion, and when his mind is thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Purport. The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendentally situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concussions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by mental concussion. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous effort. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation. For this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternal serving the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna has described here is answering the first question. What are his characteristics? What are his characteristics? And Krishna said that This man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification. He's not interested in sense gratification, which arise from mental concussion. And when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So the Sthita Pragya reveals his position by having no material affection. He's not interested in material affections or sense gratification. He is detached from both happiness and misery. That means he's equally disposed in both happiness and distress. Is equally disposed. He is fully satisfied by fixing his consciousness on the Supreme Self. So he is satisfied by doing devotional service. That is the symptom. One who has attained satisfaction, who is free from hankering and lamentation, who is free from duality of happiness and distress, is said to be a man in pure transcendental consciousness. Then Krishna next answers Arjuna's second question in text 56 and 57. How does he speak? How does he speak? This question means, how are his intelligence and words affected by another's affection? If somebody is demonstrate affection to him, how does he respond to that? If somebody remains indifferent to him, how does he respond to that? If somebody shows anger to him, how does he respond to that? Or if somebody remains neutral to him, does he become affected? That is the meaning. That is the meaning. How does he speak? That is the meaning. Okay? First, his characteristics is equally disposed in happiness and distress. Is satisfied in the self alone. That this is his position, is transcendentally situated. Then how does he speak? And that how does he speak means, how does he respond to demonstration of affection towards him or non-affection towards him? If somebody doesn't show love to him, how does he behave? Does he become affected? If somebody provoke him, does he become angry? Or how does he behave when provoked? Or if somebody is neutral towards him, does that affect him also? In other words, how does he respond to these situations? That is the meaning of that question. How does he speak? And that his real self, his real mental attitude will reflect in how he speaks. And that's why the Prabhupada says, man is not known until he speaks. A well-dressed fool is not known until he speaks. If we are to judge by the external appearance, we will judge a fool to be a learned man, and vice versa. Somebody might be so poorly dressed, but is actually a very intelligent man. You will not know if you are not very careful in your judgment. So, yes, the next verse, 56.
Dukeshu anugnamana, Dukeshu vigatas prayer, Vitaragabaya kuda, Shitadie moni, Ushayate. Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Once one is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called the sage of steady mind. Purport. The word muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a muni differs from other munis, it cannot be called a muni in the strict sense of the term. Nasavri Nasa Vrisia Yasia Matam Nam Bisnam Mahabharata Vana Pava. But a Sitadriya Muni, as mentioned herein by the law, is different from an ordinary Muni. The Sitadriya Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, but he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. It's called Prasanta Nisesamanu Ratantara, or one who Hare Krishna, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations and has come to the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. He is called the Muni fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna consciousness person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold of miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives the credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry, even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. The one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a stage of steady mind. So this term Stita Dimuni means a sage of steady minds, a sage of steady mind. Because a Muni generally, in general terms, Muni means one who is who has a different opinion from other speculators. Because in those days there were very big Munis. They can sit down and debate for the whole day. If your opinion differs from another Muni's opinion and you are able to stand your ground and logically prove your stand, then you are considered a Muni. But if you are always agreeing with what every other person says, you are not a Muni. A Muni means a very powerful Gyani, one whose intelligence is very strong. He has his own understanding of things and is able to prove it, quoting scriptures to buttress his points. That is a Muni. But the Muni here that is referred to in this verse is a Krishna conscious person. One who sees Krishna in the center, who sees Krishna in every situation, and who sees every situation in Krishna. This is called a Muni. One who is equiposed, one who does not respond to provocations, one who is not disturbed when he achieves something, he does not achieve his goal, he's not disturbed. And when he achieves something, he doesn't become elated. He's equiposed, his mind is fixed. His mind is not disturbed by duality. Such a person is a Stita Dimuni. Okay? And such a person cannot give up his service. Unconditionally, he does his services. Nothing affects him because he sees the hand of Krishna in every situation and he sees every situation in Krishna. Even if there are challenges, he immediately says that, oh, Krishna has arranged this challenge to purify me. Krishna has used this person to come and bring out my false ego. So he does not quarrel with the person. Rather, he becomes more Krishna conscious. Whatever happens, he remains Krishna conscious. This is a stita dimuni. This is in answer to Arjun's question. How does he speak? That means, how does he respond to challenging situations? That is the meaning. And his response is that he's equiposed, he's not disturbed by any adverse situation. And there is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 8. Every devotee should know this verse once you are scripturally inclined. Tate anukampam susami samano bhujana evatma kritam viparkam hridvag vapubi vidadan namaste jivetayo mukhi padesa dayabak. This is one powerful sloka that every devotee situated in transcendence should try to know. You see? And what does it mean? My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your costless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for he has become his rightful owner. So this verse is saying that one should train his eyes, his consciousness, to see Krishna in every situation and see every situation in Krishna. Therefore, unconditionally, he remains Krishna conscious. And even if as a devotee, if he faces challenges, he doesn't try to blame God for what he's facing. He says, hey God, where are you there? I've given all my life to you. And why is this situation coming upon me? Why me? Why me? He does not ask such questions. He doesn't. Because he knows that Krishna has arranged that he would think that, oh, I'm supposed to suffer more based on my previous karma. But Krishna is so kind that he has reduced it to this small scratch, that thank you, Krishna. So in all circumstances, he becomes more and more Krishna conscious. This is a stita dimuni. And we are all expected to become stita dimuni. So practice tolerance, self-control, simplicity, honesty, surrender, gratitude to the Lord. Okay? This is where we are expected to come to. So Arjuna is expected to come to this platform. So Krishna is dragging him, is answering his question. These are the symptoms of those who have attained Krishna consciousness, whose consciousness has become fixed in me. This is how they respond to challenges. Then again, okay, there's some little reading here. That a Siddhartha Muni is both fixed in his knowledge and aloof from the material world. He lives on the transcendental platform, and therefore his mind cannot be materially disturbed. Srila Prabhupada writes, such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries, by the Lord's grace, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives the credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. So the symptoms Krishna mentioned in the verse describes a Krishna conscious person, but they may also describe one who is liberated, but not Krishna conscious. So an exalted devotee is unaffected by material happiness or distress because his consciousness has nothing to do with matter. But one who is simply liberated in Brahman may be neutral in relation to the material world, while having no positive engagement in Krishna consciousness. Thus, these symptoms are applicable to both personalities and impersonalists, both personalists and impersonalists. Those La Prabhupada emphasize how they apply to the personalists or the devotees. Okay. The next question, how does he sit? How does he sit? This sitting doesn't mean sitting down or sitting on a chair. No, it means how does he not engage in his senses? That means what is his mentality when his senses are restrained from their objects? When he controls the senses, what are his mentality? Does he become disturbed that he's not being active? And then you're going to see the response. Because to withdraw the senses from sense objects is like it makes you become dull. That means you become inactive. Is that what it means? What it actually means is that when the senses are withdrawn, those withdrawn senses are engaged in positive activities. We are going to see answers. So give me a second. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, are we there?
Hare Krishna, we are there.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Prabhu. We are there.
Hare. Thank you very much. So this is the next question. How does he sit? And it means how does he not engage his senses? Does he just withdraw the senses from the sense objects and it just remain like that? It just remain like that. And that inactivity, is it okay? So actually, a Krishna conscious person withdraws his senses from sense objects, but he engages them. He engages them positively. He withdraws from sense gratification and he engages them, the senses, in Krishna conscious, Krishna sense gratification. He withdraws from material selfish sense gratification and engages the senses in positive activities in Krishna consciousness. So the direct answer is given in the next verse. So let's read verse 58 and we'll see the answer there directly. Or 57, 58, 57 first. In 58, the answer is given, but 57 is also in support of the first question. Oh, yeah. Let's read 57. Who is that reading? Who is that reading?
Hare Krishna.
Oyeka God is you. You want to rush us, so Raghupati reads. Oyeka God, relax. Because we were jumping over the Sanskrit when you were reading.
Yes.
Raghu reads and read the Sanskrit in addition. Let Oyeka God hear you. Listen very well. Oh. Mute.
Okay,
Unmute here.
Prabhu.
Okay.
Prabhu, please, verse
Verse 57.
okay. Ya sarvatra nabinehas tat prapya subham nabinandatina dvesti tasya pragya pratistita. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil, he may obtain neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Now please read the purport.
Read the purport, yes.
Purport. There is always some upheaval. There is always some upheaval in the material world, which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheaval, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in the material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil, because this world is fully of the duality. But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil, because he is simply concerned with Krishna, who is all good absolute. Such consciousness in Krishna situates one in a perfect transcendental position called technically samadhi.
Samadhi. So that is it. This material world is full of dualities, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor, fame and infamy. But a Krishna conscious person, because Arjuna is asking to know the symptoms of a Krishna conscious person. And Krishna is telling Arjuna to become Krishna conscious and act for the pleasure of Krishna. So he's asking, what are the symptoms of those who are Krishna conscious? How does he respond to challenges? So Krishna is answering him that, look, this person is equiposed, is not affected by dualities, is transcendentally situated. And this is what Krishna is explaining to him. It is not that the dualities are not there, but it's not affected. And this is the basis of the word Goswami. A devotee is a Goswami, while a non-devotee is a Godasa. Go means the senses. A devotee is a master of the senses. And if he's not yet a master, he's practicing to become master of the senses. A devotee is trying to become a Goswami. And right from Upadesamrita verse 1, Vacho Vegam, Kruda Manasa Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Mudara Pasta Vegam, all the vegams, all the urges are there. Not that they are not there, but a devotee controls them. And if he's able to control the urges of the senses, he's a Goswami and is qualified to make disciples all over the world. This is it. The clear difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. One who is not Krishna conscious is a Godasa, servant of the senses. And one who is Krishna conscious is a Goswami, the master of the senses. So this is the explanation Krishna is giving to him. The Goswamis did not become Goswamis because there are no tests and challenges. They became Goswamis because there were tests and challenges, yet they remain equiposed, seeing Krishna in all circumstances. And this is how we should train our eyes. This is how we should train our consciousness, to see everything in relationship with Krishna. If it is a test, it's coming from Krishna to purify me in order to raise me up. then you remain equiposed and do your services unconditionally. Then you are a devotee. If you are a devotee and you are not expecting any challenge, you want the whole temple to be very sweet. As you anything you do, everybody say yes, yes, laugh with you. If that's how you want it, you will not get it like that. That means you are not ready to make advancement. But for those who want to make advancement, they expect all challenges. And if Krishna want to test you, he will test you through other devotees. If he want to promote you, he has to test you first, and he will do the test through other devotees that are living with you. He will use somebody as an instrument to test you. So the advancement of a devotee is actually measured by how much he's able to live with other devotees. Understand? It is not when he's living in his house and he only comes on Sunday and meets with devotees for a few hours, he goes back, then he behaves like a saint. Come and live in the midst of devotees for 1 year. Then we'll know whether you're a devotee or not. Because all the things you don't want, Krishna will use a devotee to test you, to show them to you. All the things you are hiding, all the false ego you are hiding inside you, Krishna will use another devotee to bring it out. Every devotee acts as a mirror to every other devotee. The mirror to you that you are having this false ego, let me show you. The devotee will come and behave in a way to you to let you know that what I'm showing you is what is inside you. Krishna will use another devotee to show you what is inside you that you need to work on. So if you are conscious and you are trained your eyes to see Krishna in every situation and every situation in Krishna, Krishna will never be lost to you, neither will you be lost to Krishna. We are going to come to that verse. Yomam Pasyati Savatra is a full verse of his song. So this is how it works. And this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Not that temptations will not be there. This word is a word of duality. So these things will come. But when they come, that is opportunity to show your higher qualities. So you should show that you are practicing Krishna consciousness by how you respond to them. So this is it. Yeah, that's somewhere. Then in the next verse, it will now go ahead to answer. When the devotee is withdraw his senses, does he just withdraw his senses and remain inactive? Or he withdraws his senses and he engages them in the service of the Lord? But specifically, it's described like the situation of a tortoise. Every one of us know who a tortoise is. When a tortoise is moving alone, he will be moving on his 4 legs with the head out, and he's going. Then when he senses any danger, immediately he senses danger, he will just withdraw all his limbs within the shell, as if it's not there. Okay? He will withdraw all his limbs within the shell as if it's just some stone. As soon as the symptoms of dangers are away, everywhere become quiet, nobody's watching. He brings out his senses and he begin to go. So similarly, a devotee is practiced in withdrawing his senses. Okay? He withdraws from indulging the senses in sense gratification. But does he remain like that? Say no. Whenever there is opportunity for service or Krishna sense gratification, a service to please the Lord, immediately he brings out the senses and start engaging them. Up to the point that when it is time for prasada, if somebody invites him, oh, I just brought some long bread and granuts, and I even bought some kose, and you can tear the bread. I already inserted the kose inside the bread, and when you squeeze it out, all the oil will mix with it. Then I will lock the door and I will gomadize it. Are you interested? Immediately he withdraws his sense and says, Prabhu, I'm not interested. In fact, my system bread is not good for my system. Even kose self, even the oil with which they do it. So generally I don't eat things like that. I don't buy food from outside to eat. So please, thank you for inviting me. But I will not participate. But that same devotee, as soon as they ring the bell and say, Sarira Vidaja Jodendriya Taika, Immediately he abandons whatever he's doing in the ashram. He's the first person in the personal lobby with his plate in his hands. So the senses are withdrawn, but they are brought out for specific purposes. Okay? For specific purposes. So he brings them out for the service of the Lord, including honoring of Prashadam, doing of Ketan. He does not dance generally. No Bob Marley music will induce him to dance. No Chatawale music will induce him to dance. No Lucky Dube, no Michael Jackson. But as soon as there is Ketan, this same devotee will be, he throw his hands and legs every direction. And he's turning his body accordingly, dancing very widely. Ordinarily, when you see the people sitting down talking Prajapa, hey, Man U, Chelsea, oh, this team, that team, that player, Nima, he can play. Right? That guy is a wizard. Immediately, he gets up from there, he goes inside his ashram. He withdraws his senses from that sense gratification. But when it is time for talking about Krishna pastime, this devotee is talking from morning till night. Gather people and he's talking about Krishna, how he lifted over there. He withdraws his senses, he withdraws from lower engagement and involves himself in higher engagement. This is called Param Distwa Nivartate, replacing lower engagement with higher engagements. So in this verse 58 and 59, we are going to see how the devotee actually engages. Okay? When it is time for Prajapa, is not interested. When it's time for eating boga, is not interested, but he will eat prasad, he will talk about Krishna, and he will do everything. When he will dance for Krishna, but ordinary dance is not interested. This is how a Krishna conscious person engages his senses. So this is another direct answer to Arjuna's question. How does he sit? So verse 50, is it 58?
Yes,
Krishna answered in the next two verses, 58 and 59. So we already talked about it. So read the text, read this sloka. Madhava Prabhu, are you there? Madhava is not there again. So, Bhakta Ato, Balabhadra, wait first. Bhakta Ato.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Okay, you just listen. Just listen. Bhakta Ato reads.
I don't have light. That is the problem.
Okay, Bhakta Elvis reads.
Outside the street, too, there is no light here to read. There's no network inside the room. There should be network, but anytime I enter
It's okay. I understand Nigerian problem. Isana Goranga Prabhu reads. Isana Goranga Prabhu, are you there? Don't come and tell me that Anantajit is also there. When your own presence is just a diplomatic presence also. You are there but not there. Purushotama Yatra Prabhu.
Prabhu, test 58.
Oyeka God, Jehovah, wait first. Let Purushotama. Okay, it's like Isana Goranga is coming around. Isana Goranga,
yes. Test 58.
Okay.
Yada samharakte chayam kurmo ninganiva vakshaha indrayan indriyakte vyaks taksya prajna pratikta. Translation: one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draw its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Purport. The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that he is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the dictation of the senses. That is the answer to the question asked to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to venomous serpents. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or the devotee must be very strong to control the serpent, like a snake charmer. He never allowed them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do nots, and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do nots, restriction oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. The best example set herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment rein up its senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purposes. Similarly, the senses of Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Arjun is being taught here to use his senses for the service of the Lord instead of for his own satisfaction. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by the analogy of the tortoise who keeps the senses within. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is a very powerful verse that we should all acclimatize ourselves with it. This tortoise example, very beautiful one. And yes, it is true. And we have already explained it. When the tortoise senses danger, it withdraws all his limbs into within the shell. And when everywhere is quiet, it brings it out, his legs and his hands and the head, and he starts going. That means his senses are used for specific purposes. He's not a servant of the senses, he's a master of the senses. And that is how we are expected to be. We should not be servants of our senses. We should be masters of our senses. Okay? We should be self-control. We should practice self-control to the extent that we don't do things whimsically. Only things that are beneficial for us, we engage ourselves in. Anything that is not going to be beneficial for us, we withdraw from it. And this is the way of a devotee. So if one acts in this way, he will be free. He will be able to follow regulative principles of freedom, and he will become free indeed from all unnecessary, avoidable reactions to frivolous, whimsical, unregulated activities. So it is glorious to become a devotee. And this tortoise example is very, very appropriate. So this is a direct answer to Arjuna's question. Okay, and that is it. Those who are serving God should not expect that everything will be just rosy. There should be temptations, there should be examinations. And when the temptations come in form of allurements, sensual gratificatory allurements, we should be trained enough to withdraw our senses, to stand our ground, not to indulge in those alluring sense gratification. And the vivid example of a snake charmer is given, that a devotee should become like a snake charmer. He should be able to charm the senses. When the senses want to go wild, the devotee should be able to bring the senses under control. This is how he becomes a master of the senses. Okay? And we engage those mastered controlled senses in the service of the Lord. Then purification takes place automatically. This is where we are expected to arrive at. Okay? It is possible. People have done it. We can also do it. You see? So let us take advantage of this great advice, and we should follow the example of the tortoise and learn how to control the urges of our senses. Okay? And the result is very beautiful. 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 Okay, so Krishna is still answering Arjuna's question. The next verse also is additional answer. When you control the senses, you withdraw the senses. Do you withdraw them and stay within? What are the specific engagements you should utilize your senses for? We already explained it, but this text directly confirms it. The principle is param drisva nivartante. Param drisva nivartante. Replacing lower engagement with higher engagements. So, the next verse, please.
Text 59.
59, yes.
Vishaya vini vantante niraharaksya dihinaha raksha vajam rakshopi aksya param drikstua nirvaktakte. Translation: though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense object remains, but ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Purport: unless one is transcendentally situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a deceased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restriction nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process, like Ashtanga yoga, in the matter of yama, niyama, akshana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, etc., is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge, but one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can see that the lower stages of yoga practices, there are efforts to or attempts to control the senses, mechanically. But it is said here that, yes, that level of mechanical sense control is necessary at the neophyte stage when one has not developed a taste in positive devotional activities. When you start chanting and you have developed a taste for chanting the holy name, when you start doing positive devotional activities, you don't need to separately, mechanically try to control the senses. The senses are automatically controlled when they are engaged in the service of the Lord. The senses, our senses are automatically controlled when they are engaged in the service of the Lord. You don't need to make separate endeavor to control the senses. They just engage the senses in the service of the Lord. This is called replacing lower engagement with higher engagement. You don't engage in sense gratification in the way of eating anything you see, but you will eat only prashadam. When it is time for prasad, your senses will come out like the tortoise, and after gomadizing the prasad, it will go back inside. When it is boga offering, boga allurement, the senses remain intact. They don't come out. They are restricted. They have no interest. You have no interest in eating what is not offered to God. So you remain aloof. Okay? When you are called to dance in the service of the Lord, you dance very vigorously, like a madman, like a drunkard. But you are not drunk. You are drunk with the holy name of the Lord. Therefore, you are dancing for the pleasure of the Lord. But when you are called to dance Michael Jackson or other mundane music, you are not interested. You see? You can sing for the Lord, but you are not interested in singing mundane songs, glorifying sense gratification. When you are called upon to read mundane literatures or magazines about politics, you are not interested. But you are interested in scrutinizingly studying revealed scriptures. So in this way, you are studying revealed scriptures throughout the day, but you are not interested in reading any newspaper. Because newspaper is just verbal garbage. All mundane literatures are a place of pilgrimage for crows. All mundane literatures glorifying mundane sense gratification, they are all a place of pilgrimage for crows. The crows, like men whose consciousness is polluted, they are attracted to reading such mundane literatures. But a devotee is not interested in that at all. Instead, he dedicates his time in reading about self-realization. He's reading about his relationship with God. He's reading about how to engage the senses in the service of the Lord. So he reads scriptures scrutinizingly. For them, Srivanti, Gayanti, Grinanti, Sadhavi is interested. Even if they are imperfectly composed, is interested in studying those scriptures. You see? So this is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. And this is what is being explained here. A devotee controls his senses, withdraw them from sense gratificatory indulgences, but that same devotee is interested in engaging in activities of a higher nature, activities that will purify the consciousness, activities that will bring him closer to God, activities that will bring him closer to realizing his relationship with God. Therefore, he's actively engaged in spiritual activities, but is very callous. He's completely indifferent to mundane, sense gratificatory activities. So these are direct answers to Arjuna's questions. How does he sit? That means, how does he respond to external situations? Then again, we are going to see another question, the last question, how it is answered in the next few verses. But for now, I think we can stop. Let us stop so that we will not take you too far into the next activities. I want to appreciate all those who are here, and also we still appreciate those who are here but could not continue. We appreciate them for attempting to attend. We still say, okay, there were some uncontrollable environmental forces whereby our light went out, my internet got disconnected, we wasted some time there. before, by Krishna's mercy, the light came back. So I want to appreciate you for your efforts. I pray that Lord Damodara bless you and encourage you, inspire you to wanting to study scriptures more. So thank you very much. And especially Raghupati Prabhu is distracted. You are looking, are you watching television or you are with us? So anyway, we appreciate this young devotee is interested in studying scripture at this early age. Very good example. He's even initiated. Young as he is one of the, I think he's the youngest initiate in the whole of West Africa. So we appreciate him so much and we encourage him and we are ready to tolerate him as a young boy. But have a strong desire to, not to be frivolous, okay? Be a good boy all the time. Thank you very much. He reads slokas very fluently and with very beautiful tune also. He reads the slokas with very beautiful tune. After Madhava is Raghupati. Is best among one of the best among the local readers. So let us see. It's a soul. The point is that it's a soul. He is not the body, it's a spirit soul. And for the spirit soul, everything is possible. Yes, consciousness is coming from the soul, not from what we are saying. So, okay, thank you very much. This co-founder Charya Sila AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
So we meet on Thursday. On Thursday, 6:30. And definitely this weekend we finish this chapter. This chapter is one of the longest chapters, but we'll finish it this weekend by His grace. So thank you very much. See you on Thursday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Video